The year is 1950. Jerry Lee Lewis has just returned from his short stay at Waxahachie Bible College. He still loves the Lord, the Holy Book, and remains as faithful as ever. However, he also realized that he can never fully live up to what he is supposed to preach. Jerry Lee accepts his interest in worldly pleasures. He enjoys a drink now and then, and he certainly appreciates the ladies. But what he loves the most is the music he hears at Haney's Big House. The heavy, gut-bucket blues, heartfelt country music, and stomping Louisiana boogie-woogie resonate deep within his soul alongside his gospel upbringing, of course. It's inside of him, and it needs to find expression somehow. Jerry Lee, more determined than ever, now seeks a place where he can perform. He enters the Wagon Wheel, a small club on the outskirts of town. He had heard of the place before. It was a popular spot among the locals. Well, that very night, he meets a man who may well be the most crucial factor in shaping Jerry Lee into the musician and the performer we all know. Mr. Paul Whitehead, a skilled pianist himself, primarily plays the blues. He dreams of a big career, but due to the circumstances of his turbulent life, never achieved widespread fame. Whitehead had played with legends like B.B. King, Ray Charles, Dewey Balfa, and Clifton Chenier, just to name a few of the artists he worked and learned from. Only one record remains as a testament to his immense talent, Right Now and It's All Right, recorded at the obscure Beagle label in the late 1940s. Whitehead had heard of Jerry Lee before, but was impressed to see how exceptionally skilled he was at the piano. However, there was a dilemma. Whitehead didn't need a second pianist, so him and Jerry struck an agreement. Jerry would play the drums every Tuesday through Saturday night and would perform on the piano and sing a few songs during breaks. Then, on Sunday nights, the piano would be exclusively Jerry's. Although this wasn't exactly what Jerry Lee had hoped for, it was better than nothing, especially since he needed the $20 a week he could earn there, significant money by his family standards. So Jerry secured the job, but with one condition. He promised the club owner that he'd never reveal his underage status. If the authorities ever came to check the place, he'd disappear before they could catch him. At just 16 years old, Jerry was already making a living as a musician. Mr. Whitehead became a father figure to him and a role model in many ways. During breaks between shows, they would sit together at the piano, where Whitehead shared every trick he knew with Jerry Lee. Over the next few months, Jerry Lee developed his unique stage performance style, which would stay with him throughout his life. Eventually, Whitehead realized that Jerry Lee was already better than he could ever be. At the age of 17, approximately a year after he first started performing at the Wagon Wheel, Jerry Lee became the main attraction at the juke joint. His stage act already included many of the songs he would play throughout his life. Stick McGee's Drinking Wine Spody Odie, played with speed and wild energy, soon became a favorite among the locals. Word spread and people from all around the area flocked to see him play. For this podcast, we had the opportunity to speak with Adelaide Landry. She is one of the very few spectators who witnessed Jerry's performance at the Wagon Wheel and is still alive to share her memories. Adelaide, now 91 years old, resides in Dunbarton, Louisiana, not far from Faraday. She and her husband were frequent patrons of the Wagon Wheel. During our phone conversation, which lasted nearly an hour, she recounted the following. Quote, "My husband Edgar, who was 14 years older than me, and I were living in Clayton at the time. We didn't have much, so we couldn't afford the fancy clubs. Instead, we were always on the lookout for places with affordable drinks and great music. One night, my husband's friend invited us to a place called the Wagon Wheel. It was a small establishment, but they had drinks and lively music. As a teenage girl, all I wanted was to dance. My mother disapproved of my love for black music, but I couldn't resist it. The monotonous ragtime and jazz tunes favored by the older generation didn't appeal to me. I was young, wild, and ready to dance my heart out." End quote. As we approached the honky-tonk, the music spilled out into the night. I had anticipated an all-black ensemble on stage, but to my surprise, a young white boy was at the piano keys. Equally youthful, a man strummed the guitar, and Paul Whitehead, whom we knew from his time in Clayton, manned the drums. Together, they created a sound unlike anything I'd ever heard before. At that moment, Jerry Lee Lewis was still unknown to me, but he was about to leave an inedible mark. Despite his youthful appearance, Jerry Lee was wild. He resembled a kid, yet he sipped whiskey between songs. Their performance was a whirlwind. Songs played at breakneck speed, leaving us breathless. The piano seemed to echo with the force of 3 or 4 hands, but it was just that one kid. I'll forever remember their up-tempo rendition of Vera Lynn's We'll Meet Again. My mama adored that song, though I found its strings cheesy. And there they were, rocking out long before the term rock and roll even existed. Jerry Lee, drenched in sweat, unleashed piano solos one after another. The entire song stretched for at least 10 minutes. The crowd, electrified, filled the small venue with applause that could rival an auditorium. When it was time for the boy to switch places with Paul, the audience revolted. They wanted no one else but him. Paul wisely kept the momentum going, and Jerry Lee played on to the early hours of the morning. We returned to that place with Edgar at least once a month for several years. Over that period, we witnessed Jerry Lee perform 25 to 30 times. Let me assure you, he was as phenomenal then as he would be a decade later when he became a sensation. Perhaps even better. Those wild youth years were made unforgettable by his music, and he remains etched into my memories as a true legend. Years later, when he released his first record, he performed at a local school auditorium for free and gifted everyone a copy of his song Crazy Arms. I obtained his autograph that very day and have cherished it all these years." End quote. Adelaide then regaled us with numerous tales from her incredible life, recounting how she had witnessed Jerry Lee perform at least once a year from 1957 to 1985. We've recorded the entire interview with her consent. We'll soon make it available online for all of you to listen to. Now, let's return to the wagon wheel, why don't we? As Jerry Lee's fame and reputation continued to soar, he became a sensation in and around Faraday, Louisiana. However, along with fame came more money. By 1954, he was earning $60 a week, a considerable sum by his standards. But there was a catch. Most of the money he made was promptly spent right where he worked, on whiskey, wine, and impressing women. In hindsight, Jerry Lee often described these years as the best of his life. His dream had come true. He was a respected musician and performer, fully aware that it was only a matter of time before he achieved stardom. Jerry Lee played at the Wagon Wheel for 4 years before moving on to pursue his dreams elsewhere. In 1954, he had a fateful encounter with Roy Hall, a meeting that would shape his future forever. But that's a story for another time, y'all. Before we conclude with the song, as is our tradition, I extend heartfelt gratitude to Adelaide Landry for sharing her detailed insights, and a special thanks to her daughter, Bernadette, for facilitating our connection. Now, let's listen to Jerry Lee Lewis sing Drinking Wine Spody Odie, just as he played it at the Wagon Wheel for years. Until next time, when we return with another killer story. Rock on, y'all.
I've been down in New Orleans, everything is fine. Everybody's been drinking wine. They're drinking at the Mr. Purity Light. Now when they get the drunk, they start to singing all the night. They're drinking wine, spody, ooty, drinking wine. Wine, spody, ooty, drinking wine. Hey, give me a drink, pass that bottle of me. Hey, been invited by the gallon, invited by the quart. You got a fine black baby, you're doing things smart. Knocking out the well and tearing outdoors. Drunk, they keep on screaming, both they're drinking wine. Spody, ooty, drinking wine. Wine, spody, ooty, drinking wine. Give it to me, mama, pass that bottle to me. I need a wine, elderberry, wine, oh sherry, wine, blackberry. Give it to me, half and half. Give me a little drink, pass that old bottle to me. settling for a little gin. He ordered him a bottle of wine. He tipped that mother humper for $8 and they damn drinking wine. Scotty-o, they drinking wine. Wine, Scotty-o, they drinking wine. Real strong, would you play your organ for rock and roll one time, baby? Taste of sherry, give it to me, mama, mama, pass that bottle to me. Easy, baby. Drinking wine, I love my wine, my whiskey too, sometimes a beer might do, a little gin for who, a little vodka, tequila, rock and roll me baby, rock and roll here to stay, I don't give a damn what to say, hey baby please go on, and on.